the very first guy I picked, he was drafted as the number 1 overall pick by the Charlotte Hornets in 1991 as a power forward. And he was Rookie of the Year. He played 10 seasons for 2 franchises. We know the second franchise pretty much hyped this guy up. Anyway, I digress. This guy averaged 16.2 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 3.3 assists for his career. He was a 2-time NBA All-Star. And I would say he was probably more known for his commercials than his playing career. You know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
Okay.
Grandmama?
Yes. Larry Johnson. Poor John, he's probably listening to this going, damn it, that's my favorite player, man. Because he was talking to us about this guy last week, right? So this guy played for Tark the Shark for UNLV Running Rebels.
Yes.
And, let's face it, this guy was an awesome talent. Awesome. I mean, in college, he was dominant. I mean, that UNLV team was unbelievable in college. I mean, there's a lot of arguments that team could have probably beat the worst team in the NBA. I think at the time it might have been the Clippers at the time, but the Clippers are always kind of the worst ones for a while until Chris Paul and Lob City, DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin arrived. But anyway, Larry Johnson was a guy, a big kid, almost kind of a linebacker mold, right? The thing is that he's kind of undersized. He's not huge. He's just a big, muscular kid, but he's very athletic.
Yep.
And he was more of a dunker and a slasher. Didn't really develop a really good outside shot. I mean, it's not great. It's not bad, but he was limited. And, defensively, he wasn't all the best either. But you would never think that because of the way this kid was hyped, man, especially when he left the Charlotte Hornets and he went to New York Knicks. The New York Knicks totally hyped this guy. That's where he got this grandmama thing. And kudos to him. Great marketing. Great. I mean,
we're speaking of guys that aren't marketable. He was definitely marketable. And his marketability gave him the aura like he was better than he actually was. Correct. I agree with you. Yes.
Correct. Yes. So that's why I picked my first guy. So let's go to yours, bro.
All right. So my first guy is still playing.
Okay.
Career's not over.
Okay.
Came from LSU. He was a high draft pick. Was drafted by the 76ers.
Yep.
You and I had an argument at the time when they were drafted.
Yes.
Between this guy and Brandon Ingram.
Yep.
I felt like Brandon Ingram was the way to go. You thought it was this guy.
Yes.
Who is this player?
Ben Simmons, man.
Ben Simmons. Yes. I remember.
Talented, man. But he's
uber talented.
Yes.
Well, it started with injuries. He's in his own head now. But one of the reasons for me that he had so much hype coming out of college. He was. And the thing about it was I remember his final year at LSU, they didn't even make the tournament, and I remember thinking to myself, how are you hyping a guy that didn't even make the NCAA tournament?
Yeah.
But yet he was going to be, he was part of, what was the 76ers slogan? Patience or whatever, we're building it or whatever.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about the process. The process.
Thank you. The process. So he's kind of my most obvious choice. I mean, obviously his career's not over. He can get revived, but they traded him over to Brooklyn. That guy's an afterthought, and he's in a large market city. I wouldn't say he's on a large market team, but he's in a large market city, and that guy has just vanished. Like, I don't even see or hear from him anymore.
It's back problems he's had. He's also had some anxiety, mental health issues, which you don't want to ignore, man. It's a thing now, and it's real, right?
It is. It is.
I don't know if you know about the passing of the golfer that just happened, over the weekend on Saturday.
Yes.
Man. That was due to mental health, man. Like Grayson Murray, rest in peace, man. But he was only 30 years old, and it's real, right? And a lot of people, I got to give it to the media and. They're definitely focusing on this as something that you definitely don't want to undermine, right?
I agree.
So we don't want to undermine this because we have a tendency, especially some of us old heads. Come on, man up, man up, right? Come on, man, man up. No, man. I mean, some kids are not everybody's built the same, man. And you got to respect people's upbringings. You got to respect their their physiology, their biology. Everybody's different, man. Right? Some
Yeah,
people
no,
can
I,
take it, other
I
people
I
can't.
agree. My knock on Simmons though is that he never, for someone that was that highly regarded, he never seemed to work on his offensive game. He
Yeah,
seemed to want to be a rebounder and a defender
and a
and
distributor, and a
and
distributor.
and a distributor. Yes,
Yep,
and
yep,
given the pedigree he was coming from, the experience, that type of thing, he should have rounded up his game. And a lot of this started with him passing up a supposed dunk, and it all kind of went downhill from there.
for sure.
And
Because he
again,
couldn't
I'm
shoot
not
free
I'm not
throws. He can't
downplaying
shoot
his
because he sucks at free throws, man. He never
correct.
really worked at it, right? So that's
Yep.
he got in his head, and he never recovered from that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think it really hit him hard how Philadelphia treated him.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that he went to a rough city if you want support.
Absolutely,
Philly doesn't mess
absolutely,
around. Yes.
absolutely. And I think he's just a sensitive kid, man.
Yep.
I can tell, man. I can see it, right? So he's a sensitive kid, and it's okay. And we're all different, man. But
Yeah.
I think that's a good choice. I think the other reason why, man, he got bit by the Kardashians, man. Anybody who touches them, man, just gets bit. Seriously, man.
What happened to my boy Lamar Odom?
Dude, I'm telling you, Lamar Odom, Chris Humphries. The only one I think who survived was Reggie Bush, honestly, and he was the first one to kind of figure it out.
No, because they took his Heisman away.
Man, there's a poisonous, man.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Very attractive, man. Let's not ignore it. They're very attractive, but poison, pure poison.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Anyway,
I'm with you. All right, Eddie, your turn now.
So my next guy, I'm gonna go again. I'm gonna give you the accolades. This guy was drafted in 2010 as the number one overall pick. That's two number one overall picks in a row. He was Rookie of the Year. You're gonna get this because you know the year. It's 2010. Okay.
Yeah.
Played 13 seasons, 6-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA, second team. This guy was a power forward. He was mostly known for his outrageous dunking ability. Okay, amazing dunking ability. I mean, he's got unbelievable hops. Right? Has a twin brother who played in the NBA. You know who I'm talking about already. He was the first to dunk over a car in the All-Star game. All right.
Yeah.
And we saw that, Aaron Gordon did it better.
Yes. I didn't know
Aaron Gordon did it too. And Aaron Gordon's hops are ridiculous, man. I mean, I think Aaron Gordon is the most underrated dunker we have ever seen. Unbelievable, man. That guy's got hops galore. But this guy was the first kind of that archetype,
out of Oklahoma, yes?
Yep, out of Oklahoma.
You know what, Eddie? I'm drawing, of course, yes, but I'm drawing a blank. I didn't know he had a twin brother that played.
Yeah.
I don't remember him. You're talking about Blake Griffin now. We're talking about Blake Griffin.
Taylor Griffin. He played.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. He had a
Kudos.
twin brother. Played it. Yeah. So, but
I had him on my list.
Yep. So anyway, so Blake Griffin, who played from Oklahoma and got drafted by the Clippers and, was hyped up big time. That's a big city, LA, right? The Clippers are not really known for hyping anybody up until Blake Griffin really arrived, honestly. But, they had, Chris Paul there. They had DeAndre Jordan. They became what's famously known as Lob City, right? For his size, this guy's like a major flopper, though, man. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, I think he brought it to, he made it in vogue to flop, man, honestly, because he just unbelievable. I don't know if you learned that from Chris Paul, because we know Chris Paul's a huge flopper, but you can't hate him too much now because he's a Warrior. It took me a hard time to get used to him to be a Warrior, but, you got to like him a little bit now, right? But anyway, Blake Griffin is a big flopper, and, he was, highly regarded as the number one pick in that draft. But if they were to do that whole draft all over, who would be the number one pick, man?
Our boy, Steph
Curry.
Our boy Steph would be.
Same draft, man. And can you believe that the Minnesota Timberwolves, the guys that are in the conference finals, they had the opportunity to pick that guy twice. Okay? They picked Johnny Flynn and
Johnny Flynn, where's Johnny?
Yeah, Johnny Flynn from Syracuse and Ricky Rubio from Spain. And those guys were drafted before Steph Curry. Can you believe that?
And both out of the league now, I think. Yeah, both out of the league. Rubio might still be around. Flynn is definitely out.
Flynn was out of the league after like 3 years, man. All right. So but he played. He had a great tournament, and the tournament is a great platform for kids to be hyped. Honestly, if they have a
It
great
is.
tournament, they're going to be drafted well, man. And Johnny Flynn had a great tournament. So, but
But
anyways,
did he have a better tournament than Curry?
probably not, man. Probably not.
Yeah, yeah.
But we'll talk later in the segment as the guy who has the best NCAA tournament we have ever seen. So we'll talk
Okay,
about that
yes,
later.
we can talk
But
about
anyway,
that. All right, at
yeah.
another
So,
time. All right,
yep.
all right. I'm gonna pick a guy who came out of Kentucky. I don't remember what year, so I don't have that information. Was drafted by the Sacramento Kings. Is a center. He
I know what you're talking about.
who we talking about?
Bagley.
No, no,
Oh,
no. I'm not
oh,
somebody a little more controversial. So I'm
oh,
going with DeMarcus Cousins. Uh,
oh.
DeMarcus, great skill,
Yep.
great ability, turned down a contract at Sacramento, ended up getting hurt. And again, I don't want to knock him, but sort of along the ways of Blake Griffin, had a lot of talent that never could make anything out of it. You know, uh, Kentucky's a highly regarded NBA farm system,
Program.
if you will,
Yep.
and DeMarcus Cousins was to me someone when the Warriors picked him up, I'm like, all right, we got something here. And the guy has just his skill set has diminished. I think, as a matter of fact, I don't think he's even playing this year. I don't think he got picked up. I think he might have
No, he
retired
retired.
already.
He retired.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
retired.
he officially
Yeah,
retired.
yeah. So that's my number 2 guy is DeMarcus Cousins.
Man, that guy could have been a beast, though, man.
Yes.
When we picked Epe Udo in that draft, right? And I
Yes.
thought he was actually a decent player, and I think he's none of one of these kids that I think got affected by the trade and it got in his mentals a little bit. He just wasn't the same after he got traded away from the Warriors to the Bucks. I think it was he went, but anyway,
Yeah, he was part of us getting Bogut.
yes, exactly. So, and
Yeah.
I think he wasn't the same since then. But anyway, Epe Udo was drafted, but DeMarcus Cousins, I thought would be the guy that might fall to us, and when he didn't, they picked Epe Udo. And I know Jerry West is very high on DeMarcus Cousins because of his ability. I mean, they thought he was kind of like one of these franchise changing type of, assets. The only thing is that the guy, much like Draymond Green, his own persona can get in the way of a lot of things. He's just one of these highly volatile personalities that can disrupt the locker room. And he's a
But the
big
difference
man.
is Draymond's winning overcame it.
Right.
And
Right.
DeMarcus couldn't do the same.
Yep. But good pick, man. I mean, I forgot about him, man. So that's a good
Yeah.
pick, man.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
so let's go to my third one. All right.
All
Again,
right.
we're increasing in controversy. All right.
Okay, here we go.
This guy is, I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer. He's pretty soon going to be a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. But anyway, that gives you a little sneak peek.
Okay.
Was drafted as the 3rd overall pick by the Denver Nuggets in 2003 as a power forward. And he actually was drafted behind LeBron James and Darko Milicic. Those are the first 2 picks of that draft. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. He played 19 NBA seasons, 10-time All-Star, 1-time NBA scoring title in 2013. He has 2 All-NBA second teams and 4-time All-NBA third team. Okay. You probably don't know who this guy is yet, but I'll give you some more.
Well, no, I mean he's too old. But immediately I thought Antonio McDyess, but it's not Antonio McDyess.
No. This is a very obvious one, man. Right? Some of the audience may have already figured this out. It's on the
I know. He's on my list too. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Who is it?
Carmelo.
Absolutely, man.
Yes, Carmelo
Anthony. And this is one of the guys. I mean, dude, he was a beast in college. Okay, he played for Syracuse. Won a title, and he's an offensive machine. He's a scoring machine, and probably one of the hardest guys to defend because of his size, and he could shoot, right? But that's all he could really do.
Offensive brilliance.
Absolutely, he was very good at it, man. And he's, a lot of people consider him as one of the hardest guys to guard because of his skill set. Being a decent dribbler, but just kind of like a lot of moves and he's big and he's strong, right? And he could score at any level. But that's all that dude can do, man.
That's it.
I agree. As soon as he got the ball, dude, the ball was going up, man. He never freaking passed the ball.
Yep.
Honestly, man. I watched the game. I'm like, it's Carmelo's gonna get the ball. That's it. He's shooting, right? He doesn't pass. And I think later in his career, he started figuring it out that as his his talent started diminishing, right? That
Yep.
he needed to do more than just score because the defenses were faster than him and you had to take him out. So he had to figure out how to rebound, how to play defense better because he did do those things better later on in his career, right? But I always thought this guy, man, was overrated, man, always. But he's good. I
There
just don't.
was there was a moment where the
Yes,
discussion was LeBron or Melo, LeBron
yes,
or Melo,
yes, yes,
and
yes.
and Carmelo. I agree with you. He chose not to learn to play defense. He chose not to figure out how to work within the structure of a team in terms of passing and things of that nature. But
Yep.
offensively gifted. But
Absolutely, but here's the trend that I've picked in the first three picks. Okay, the first three picks are all top three picks in the draft, right?
yep,
They all played for major markets too. Okay,
they did.
Larry Johnson played for the Knicks. Carmelo Anthony played for the Knicks. Blake Griffin played for LA, right?
Yep,
But none of them won a title. So
correct.
titles matter in the legacy of a player, man.
But
So
I think they matter. I mean, he's not on my list. Hopefully, he's not on yours. But you take someone like Charles Barkley, right?
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't think
he was a beast, man. Though,
and I
God,
think
he was so good.
I think because he hasn't won championships, he's a tad underrated. Like I don't think people remember exactly how dominant Charles Barkley was.
No, I agree.
Unfortunately, he played in an era with the greatest basketball player of all time, and
Yes.
he couldn't squeeze out a championship. So I think there are circumstances in which, but I agree with you. Um, winning a champ, you if you don't win a championship, that has to really look at in regards to what you're
What,
rated.
what are your compensating factors to make up that you don't have a scoring title?
Exactly,
Right.
exactly,
Right. Right.
exactly. I mean, you look at someone like Steve Nash, who also has never won a championship, but
Yep.
he came in kind of low profile and made a name for himself,
For sure.
and
For
became a
sure.
two-time MVP and became, a good player, which I always thought when he was drafted was low because, we had him out here in Santa Clara and I'm like, dude, this dude is better than what he got drafted as.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah. I
a
agree.
solid player,
Because
but
he played for a
it
small
took a
market.
couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
All right.
but interestingly enough, Steve Nash is one of the guys that was actually when I was kind of researching this a little bit, kind of seeing, I had some guys in mind. A lot of people were hyping this guy up as being overrated, Steve Nash. So I don't
Yeah,
know, man.
see,
Whatever.
I would agree if I think that he built his hype. Like when he came out of
Yeah, I
college,
hear you.
no one knew him, right? And so if you
Yeah.
think he's overrated, sure, maybe you're saying he shouldn't have won 2 MVPs, but that's a different level. Like he made a name for himself. Like to me, Carmelo Anthony, he couldn't have asked for a better introduction into the league. And because he was so offensively gifted, people were wondering and wondering till they got to a certain point, and you're like, no, this guy's just not worth it.
Right.
Even with his offensive skill, because I think that he stopped getting opportunities even before his game diminished. His
Right.
game was still solid, but people were just like, yeah, no, we need someone who's going to play defense and pass and
Right.
rebound and things of that nature. But okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, along those lines, I'm going to jump around as well. Since you're picking so many Knicks, I will start with this guy,
Okay.
who
This
who
is
is
your
known
third
in New
player
York.
now, right? This is your
Huh?
third player.
This is
This
my
is your
third player.
Yep.
I'll jump to him. He was
Okay.
actually drafted, I believe, by the Timberwolves. Played many years with Kevin Garnett. Couldn't ever kind of get along, figure out how to play there. I believe, ended up going to New York. Point guard. Was very highly touted. Ended up playing the majority of his career overseas, where he made a big, strong name for himself.
Oh, Starberry.
Yes, Stephon Marbury.
Stephon Marbury. Yep.
I think that guy had a lot of hype and
Yeah, he did.
no championships. Was from New York, had a homecoming in New York, got a lot of pub about that, but ultimately a disappointment, in my opinion.
Yeah, but he's uber talented though, man. But yeah, he just it didn't
Well, yeah.
translate. It didn't translate. For whatever reason, it just didn't translate. It might have been his personality. I don't know, man. For whatever reason, his game didn't translate very well in the NBA. But you could see that the potential was there, but it just never really emerged.
Well, if you ask
Mhm.
me from a talent perspective, right, I would take Marbury and Kevin Garnett over Ant-Man and Karl Anthony Towns. From a talent level, I think Anthony Edwards may be the most talented of the lot, but I think Karl Anthony Towns is the least talented of the lot.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
you would take who again? You would take
Like if you gave
Anthony
me,
Edwards, Andy?
you would think. I mean, now we know how everything played out.
Yeah.
But if you gave me four guys and seeing who they are in terms of their talent, I would have taken Kevin Garnett and Stephon Marbury over
Oh,
Ant
over
Man and Carl
Anthony
Anthony
Edwards
Towns.
and Carl Anthony.
And Minnesota cannot even get as far as those two players have taken this current squad.
Correct. Interesting. That's an interesting take, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Garnett is a Hall of Famer, um, and very good defensive player. Very good defensive player. That's probably what he is really most known for. I mean, he has a decent offensive game, but really good defensive player and a very good leader. He's one of these vocal kind of leaders. I've heard people kind of put him on this list as overrated. I think he's underappreciated. Honestly, that's the way I would categorize him.
I would agree, and Stephon Marbury, a very highly skilled offensive player, a good floor general, and I think that those two I would have picked every day of the week over Ant-Man. Not because I do think Ant-Man is progressing to be the most talented of the four. It's not there yet, but I think those two guys are better than Carl Anthony Towns, which is why I would take those two.
Yeah, interesting take, man. All right, man. So we're actually going on the same train here, bro. So my fourth pick, and I got one more after this. All right, my fourth pick again. I put it in the order of least controversial, and it's starting to grow into controversy, right?
Okay,
in the controversy area. And I know there's going to be people hating me for even bringing this guy up, but we've talked about this guy already in a previous podcast. Okay, all right. So there you go. You probably know what we're talking about. He was drafted in 1985 as the number 1 overall pick.
Oh, here we go.
17 seasons and 15 of them for one franchise. And we all know that one franchise, man, it's a marketing machine, bro, for their players, right? 11-time All-Star, 2-time gold medal winner, right? 6-time All-NBA second-team player. This guy was a beast in college.
Yes.
Beast. He was a defensive beast in college, man. I think that when he went to the NBA, he became more offensive oriented, but
I would agree.
Defensively, he was unbelievable in college, right? But he developed I would say he's considered probably one of the better mid-range shooting centers we have seen in the game. And you got to give it to him. He worked on it, man. But the unfortunate thing is that he actually played against Hakeem, Shaquille O'Neal, David Robinson, right?
Yes.
All those guys are Hall of Famers, and this guy's a Hall of Famer himself.
But none of those, if I think it is who you're going to say, none of those with the amount of publicity and hype and build that he got. As a matter of fact,
correct.
As a matter of fact, it was. He's the one that has the cold envelope conspiracy theory, right? Where back then you had to pick the envelope, and someone had said that they put that with his name in the freezer so it would be cold, so the Knicks would know who to take.
Are you serious?
Yes, look it up. I don't know if I have all the facts correctly, but yes. Yes.
My God.
Came out of Georgetown, correct? The player you're going to say.
Exactly what we're talking about Patrick Ewing.
Ewing.
And he is a Hall of Famer. He is. But again, this guy has not won a title. All right. He was just unlucky that he faced Jordan 5 times in the playoffs. So, but this guy's a good player. I'm not knocking him as a good player. He was a good player. I wouldn't say he was a great player. He was probably a very good player, but not great. Olajuwon, great. O'Neal, questionable, but he's great because he's so freaking big you can't stop him. And then you got David Robinson, man. He's just a very, very versatile big, man. And he was good at both ways, right? Really good both ways.
And Eddie, let's not forget that for at least a good portion of his career, played for a coach that has won championships in every organization he's been in except for New York.
Riley.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And this guy, I would say the other thing that this guy's well known for, other than his outside shooting and his defense in college, very, very efficient cooling system. You know what I'm talking about? There's even freaking commercials about this guy, about how efficient his cooling system is. And you know what I'm talking about when we say efficient cooling system? We're talking about a boy who sweats big time, man.
Yes.
I mean, that guy
Yes.
dude. I mean, they had them off the floor every time that guy was coming down the court, man. How much that guy sweat. And dude, I'm a big sweater myself, man. It's a known thing,
Me
man.
too.
But that
Me
dude was
too.
a whole nother level, man.
He
Buckets of
invented
freaking
he
sweat.
invented the T-shirt under the
Oh my,
jersey just
oh
to
my god.
contain some of the
Oh my
soakiness.
god. And then you got Kevin Hart telling him, oh, you got to take a shower before, right? I thought you already took a shower in that commercial,
Yep.
right? Anyway, so we're talking about Patrick Ewing. So that's controversial because I know that I know John's going to be hating us after this, man, because we
Yeah.
talked about a lot
We
of Knicks, and
picked a
that's
lot
his
of
team.
we picked a
Yep.
lot of Knicks. All right.
Exactly.
All
Go
right.
ahead, man. Go for
I
your
have
first player.
I have two controversial ones coming up.
Right.
I'm trying to wait and see if you don't. Maybe one of them you're taking. I'm going to take the one of a guy who actually did win a championship, but I think he
I
is.
know you're talking about, man.
I think he is overrated.
Oh shit!
Um,
I know you're
he.
talking about.
No,
No.
okay, all right. He played in Boston.
Oh, no, I'm not
No,
there.
okay. He played in Boston. It
Okay.
required the previous player that we were just talking about joining with him, forces with him, to end up winning a championship. This guy talks. Today even he'll go on drunk rampages or he'll talk. I think he was with ABC for a while, kind of giving his overview on players. But I think this guy is one of the most overrated players in the Celtic lore history, and that is Paul Pierce.
Oh, I knew that. Okay, I knew that's who you're going to talk about.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Yes. Paul Pierce, to me, really did nothing until Garnett and why am I drawing a blank?
Rajon Rondo.
No, not Rajon Rondo, the three-pointer. Jesus, I'm getting old.
Yeah. Anyway.
The guy who ended up playing for Miami, he left Miami to go join Boston. He left Boston to join Miami. Anyway, never mind. I keep wanting to say Allen Houston, but it's not Allen Houston. I can see his face. Anyway, he ended up, winning a championship with not Rajon Rondo, but it was Kevin Garnett and the third guy from Milwaukee, the three-point guy from Milwaukee, the second, third best three-pointer in the history of the NBA. Why are we both drawing blanks? Anyway,
oh my god. Anyway, I don't know.
I'll find him in a minute. Anyway, so to me, Paul Pierce, severely overrated. He won a championship, but with Doc Rivers, who, if we're talking about overrated coaches, let's throw Doc Rivers into that batch. So that's my guy, Paul Pierce. Now I got to find the name.
Yeah, when you said Milwaukee, dude, third best 3-point shooter ever.
Yeah, he came out of Milwaukee. Hold on,
Anyway, all right. So while you're looking that up, I'm gonna go for my last one, man. My last one. This is what I thought you were talking about when you first mentioned that this guy,
Ray Allen.
Okay, Ray. Oh yeah.
Ray Allen. Sorry.
Ray Allen. Yeah. Okay, Ray Allen.
Yep.
So the guy that I'm picking here is, I thought you were talking about this guy. You said this guy's won one title.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
All right. So okay, there's a sneak peek. He was the first number 1 overall pick. Okay. By the way, 5 of my guys, 4 of them are number 1 overall picks. Okay.
Okay.
So this guy was the number 1 overall pick in 2012 by the Charlotte Hornets. That should tell you something.
Okay.
They're no longer called the Hornets.
Yes.
Right? Okay. so they're now called New Orleans
Pelicans.
Right.
Pelican.
All right?
Yeah.
He left the University of Kentucky after playing 1 season. Okay? He is still playing in the NBA today. He is in his 12th season. He's an 8-time NBA All-Star, 4-time All-NBA First Team, 2-time All-NBA First Team, 3-time NBA blocks leader. You're going, holy crap! Why is this guy being on this guy's list as overrated?
Blocks.
I'm gonna keep going, but I kind of want to put this guy in a different category rather than overrated. Okay. So he made the 75th NBA anniversary team. You already know what I'm talking about. And this is the same 75th anniversary team that Klay Thompson was omitted from. Right? He wore that number 77, I think, or whatever it was, that jersey, right? Because he got omitted. He should have been number 76 because I think there was a tie for the 75th. He should have been number 77. Anyway, this guy has never played a full season. Never. Okay? He's missed 25% of the games in his career. I mean, that's a big number, okay? He's known for being a very versatile, defensive-minded, athletic big with guard-like skills. This is somebody that I really like, man. I like him a lot. You know what I'm talking about now, right?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I think
If
I
you
know
don't
who you're talking
know, I'm
about.
going to keep going.
No,
Right?
no. Is it
Okay.
AD?
Yes. It's
Yes.
Anthony Davis. Okay.
Yes.
You know how much I like Anthony
The
Davis, man.
unibrow.
Yes. I like him a lot, but I would probably put him in another category. I would put him as probably top 5 players with the most potential to be the best at his position, man. But injuries and I think lack of a killer instinct got in this guy's way, man. Um,
Yes, I
he's won a
agree.
title, but that title is questionable because it happened during the COVID years, right? It was that shortened season, that one, in the COVID year, the 2020, I think is when they won it. But this guy has monster game, man. But it's a known thing that this guy could have like a huge game and then disappear the next game. Huge game, disappear the next game. Consistency
Yep.
is the issue
Yep.
with this guy, man.
Yep. Yeah.
Consistency, lack of a killer instinct. Okay. Um, and just injuries, man.
Yeah.
Injuries just plagued this guy, unfortunately. And just you can't blame the guy for being injured, but we don't know why certain people get injured more often than others. Just don't know why. I mean, crap. I don't know why I got Bell's palsy. For those of you
Yeah.
that didn't know why this side of the face doesn't work very well, but I got it, and it never came. Never came back. It's because
Yeah.
I had Lyme disease. But anyway, I digress. But we don't know why. We don't know why. You know, people they have a tendency to get injured more than others. And this guy, unfortunately, just got blessed with a bad physiology, man. This guy always gets hurt. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's maybe the way he trains. Maybe he just needs a better trainer. Maybe he doesn't take the off season, very seriously. I don't know. But for whatever reason, this guy's getting injured. And this guy is uber talented, man. He's probably going to be a Hall of Famer. Let's face it, right? But that's why I
Yep.
didn't want to call him. He's the most controversial pick out of my list. I didn't want to say he's overrated. Like I said, I think he's the guy who has the most potential to be one of the best players at his position of all time. But things got in the way. So
All right. All right. Good pick. Good pick. All right. Here's my guy. I think he's going to be controversial. Similar to AD, very talented player. Very talented player. And I'll give you an easy hint to see. Well, if you know this, he's Vince Carter's cousin. Played the majority
Tracy
of his.
McGrady. Tracy
Yes.
McGrady. Yeah.
Tracy McGrady. I think he is. I don't think his skill set is overrated. But when I look at him and his postseason career, I
Yeah.
do not understand how this guy was not more successful in the postseason, given his dominance. I mean, a lot of people remember Vince Carter's jumping ability, and later on, he became a very decent 3-point shooter. But
Yep.
Tracy McGrady was like almost like Scottie Pippen on steroids. I mean, this dude was like a very, very, very good player.
Uber athletic, man.
Uber athletic.
They compared him to Kobe Bryant as far as
Exactly.
his athleticism. Yeah, he was compared
Exactly.
very much.
But
So,
that's
yes.
where the comparison stopped because Kobe
Yeah.
won, and this guy couldn't manage to win.
But dude,
And
the difference is Kobe just has that freaking just killer instinct.
that's my point.
That's the difference.
I actually struggled a little bit but because he is such an icon, the guy that I would compare Tracy McGrady to in terms of just I don't understand is Allen Iverson. Those two players, I don't understand why they weren't more successful.
Yeah.
And Tracy, and like I look at, so I don't know if you want to say he was overrated or whatever, but Tracy McGrady, in my opinion, should have done more with his career.
And you probably want to put him in the same category as like put Anthony Davis in.
Correct.
A guy who has all the skills to be a top 5 player at his position, but for whatever reason the mentals got in the way. The killer.
But that was the
instinct,
thing.
I don't know.
When I look at McGrady, the mentals don't look like it was a problem. He wasn't ever particularly hurt. I mean, he had injuries, but he was, he had everything. He had height. He had athleticism. He had what appeared to be the right fire, but couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
Yeah, man, interesting, man. We're gonna get a bunch of hate. We're gonna get a bunch of hate mail on this thing, because we.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not saying like these guys weren't good players. Well, some of them ended up being very limited, But I think the reason that the more controversial picks like Anthony Davis, like Stephon Marbury, like Tracy McGrady, like, well, Marbury's a little more clear. He just couldn't seem to get the right chemistry with people. But like Anthony Davis and Tracy McGrady, they're damn good players. Yeah. But why aren't they winning more? At least getting to the conference finals, at least, doing, a little more of that. And so that's my controversial pick.
Hey everybody, this is Big John from Grumblings Media, and I just want to say thank you for watching our content. If you want to support our efforts here at Grumblings Media, just smash the subscribe button right here, totally free, or just go ahead and consume more of our great content. Click either one of these two boxes.